Hello guys, welcome to Thermomixing Adventures. Lisa here. Hey look, it's lunchtime here. It's after 12 o'clock and my kids are on cooking today. So you guys know this year, 4 days a week my kids cook. However, they are having the time of their life playing a game. So it's the 7-year-old's turn today. He's put the menu together. You can see here what he's got. He's so excited. So I just called out to him and said, "Oi, you're going to do lunch or would you like me to do it for you?" And you know what? Sometimes planning is one of the hardest parts, right? Yes, cooking is involved, yes. But sometimes knowing what to make is half the battle, right? So the kids put together the menu last weekend so that I don't have to do 4 days a week of thinking, which I love. So, and part of that though is then teaching them the process. Now they know how to use a Thermomix. The process I'm talking about is the cleaning up afterwards. You guys know yesterday I talked about the fact that I spent over half an hour preparing to be able to go on, and even today was a bit longer as well, trying to find tools that normally I know where they are. But you know what? I'm going to appreciate this season of them cooking. You know, they'll be gone and out of home before I know it. That I know. So, yeah, I'm just going to ride out this season and share the journey with you. So thanks for coming along today. Remember to follow along if you're on Facebook. Push the follow button. If you're on YouTube watching the replay this evening, hit that subscribe button as well. I think I'm nearly at 3,000 followers on YouTube. So thank you to those of you who are over there following on and sharing these videos. You know, it means the world to me that we can get these far out, okay, as far as they can go. If people have a Thermomix and it is a dust collector, it breaks my heart, okay? These are a tool in your kitchen and they will revolutionize, they will change your kitchen. But sometimes I get it. Sometimes it's hard to start. Sometimes it's hard to know where to start. Sometimes you feel like, you know, your brain's programmed for 20, 30, 40 years of cooking a certain way, and it's uncomfortable, and it's so uncomfortable sometimes that we go and pick up a jar or we buy the bag of bread rolls or whatever. But my job is to help you just so that you can change that neural pathway and go, oh, I don't need to pick up that. I can actually make it, and I make it without stressing. Now, I am not a cook. Hear me out, okay? I'm terrible at cooking. My mother-in-law and my parents, my father-in-law probably as well, will testify to the fact that I'm not a great cook. I used to burn things. I was basic, and even still that was really dull and boring, and I would burn things. The amount of times we would have, I remember as a young married couple slicing up sweet potato and frying it on the barbecue with some chicken, and it was like leather. It was black too, because my attention span is that of a goldfish half the time. So the Thermomix has totally changed our kitchen. It has, so 10 years now I've had one. TM31 when I first got one and I joined as a consultant, okay? So I got mine at the same time as joining because I wanted to make sure that when I got this Thermomix, I was going to use it. I was going to have that accountability to use it. I figured as a Thermomix consultant, it was the best way to get one and get the most out of it as quick as possible. Just for those of you who don't know the backstory, then I'm going to cook lunch. It's going to take like 2 seconds in here, maybe a little bit more, but not long. But, you know, back in 2013 when I started, little did I know the journey I would be on. You know, I did all my training and I did some demos and found out I was pregnant with the third child. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll just give it another 7 months and see how this goes. And loved going into homes and showing people what it did and just giving people the choice. You know, my background was teaching. I don't see this as a sales role. This is literally a show role. Like, it's like hey, this is what it is and does. If you want it, let me know. And I love that part about it, okay? So if you've ever, this wasn't going to be actually a message on, would you like to do what I do? But if you've ever thought about it, reach out. I'd love to give you information because it changed the trajectory of our family. You know, my plan as a teacher back then was to, you know, get my kids through early years and stay at home and then go back as a teacher with them as they went to school. And fast forward now, 10 years, my kids are homeschooled. We homeschooled pre-COVID, so it wasn't like a COVID change. We, you know, from this, my child being, my oldest being 5 and deciding that the school system wasn't where I, at that time, wanted to, I couldn't find what I wanted in my local area. So, you know, this business has given us the freedom to be able to homeschool, to travel in the caravan, to up and move, and so much more. So, it's been a game changer, and I didn't come on to tell you that today. I came on to say, let's cook. So with that in mind, let's cook. Let me show you how quick it is to get a quiche Lorraine in the oven and on the table. Like, the biggest time is the cook time in the oven. Okay. Oh, by the way, one more message. Newsletter is flying out tonight into your inboxes from Thermomix Adventures. That's my business name. This evening. So if you are not a subscriber, over there on that QR code, or you can look up TMXing, so ING, adventures.com.au. Okay. So think of BMXing Adventures. 10 years ago, 2013 seemed like a good name. Now I just explain it all the time. So TMXing adventures.com.au. Okay. You can head over there, hit the subscribe button, sign up to my mailing list. And that means tonight when I hit go on that newsletter, just a little after 7 Queensland time, you will get the first download of 2024. Now, I laminated, this is the old one. I'm not cheating. I'm not going to tell you what 2024 is bringing yet. You'll have to be on the mailing list tonight to find out. But yesterday I got out the laminator because I need to laminate some other stuff, and I finally laminated the download. So the last couple of years I've been putting downloads, it's probably actually 18 months, I've been putting downloads together for you guys each probably 6 to 8 weeks. And there are 11 that I found, and I might even have one missing, I think, to laminate. So, you know, if you're ever feeling like you're lacking inspiration, jump over to TMXing and to the blog. Because when I've published them eventually in the newsletter, sorry, I shouldn't say eventually, when I publish them in the newsletter, eventually they then show up on the blog. So they're open access then. And these are cookie dough recipes. I've done videos to all of these. Like, there are over 500 videos on my YouTube, and there's probably over 1,000 on my Facebook, because I started on the Facebook before I decided that YouTube was a great library, like, resource. So yeah, anyway, let's get cooking. So you can see he made watermelon canapes for morning tea. They were more like wedges. We didn't worry about cutting them out. We just hacked up watermelon. He made the beautiful vinaigrette type thing, and he actually put it through the cream cheese, and then we just spooned it on top like the watermelon was a big hunk of bread. It was beautiful. Now we're doing quiche Lorraine. He actually has ricotta gnocchi on tonight, which he's super excited about. We make our own ricotta, buy cheap milk, use vinegar, make ricotta, and we use a gluten-free flour in that, and it is beautiful. We make a double batch. We don't boil that off, okay? Just a little note on that recipe. If you've ever made gnocchi and you're like, it's a bit spongy, we fry ours on the barbecue. We dry fry ours. So it's not completely dry. It's a little drizzle of oil, but toss it on the barbecue. Just an idea. Okay, quiche Lorraine, this is a classic. It's so simple, it's so quick. Say hi if you're watching on today, by the way. So, first things first is Gruyere cheese. We never have Gruyere cheese because it's expensive. We live in the middle of nowhere, and I don't even think our supermarket stocks it. So we use Parmesan instead. Okay, and generally I just buy the cheapest one available. We go through a fair bit of Parmesan because of Brazilian cheese puffs and this recipe. So yes, you did know, I hope by now, those of you watching a long time, that you can grate your own cheese in the Thermomix. Okay, I love it. It's one of those things, being able to mill down your own nuts and seeds and cheese, game changer. Okay, 50 grams. On with the lid. All right, gonna be noisy for a second. 10 seconds, speed 7. Off that goes. I can hear it's done early, so I pushed the emergency stop, which is actually just the silver button, to stop it early because I could hear that it was done. All right, there you go. Look at that grated cheese. 7 seconds. Was it 7? 5 in the Thermomix. So easy. Tip with cheese is if you want a good grate, make sure it's cold. Okay, and the harder the cheese, the better it grates. So into a container to set aside. Often you'll find in our house a container of grated stuff in the fridge anyway. Usually some tasty from pizza night, normally some Parmesan because the kids are just, you know, actually if I was doing this off camera, I would have done the rest of the block as well, just to put it aside. Okay, transfer aside. Preheat your oven. Now it's going to tell me to grease and line a quiche tin. No grease and flour. I always line it. I'm going to show you some tips to make this super simple in a minute. 75 grams of butter. Okay, obviously today, not dairy-free. Ugh, yuck. The flies are terrible at the moment. There's one crawling on my butter packet. Now, because I've had little helpers cooking, excuse me while I finish off the 1,362,000 open packets of everything at the moment. So, just see how we go. 75 grams. I may not need all this. Let's see. So we're actually making, what's that say, 81, that'll do. Making the pastry. So really simple. I'm going to make it gluten-free. So let me show you how. It is better if you have cold butter. Mine's been sitting out, well, actually not long since I got on the video, but it's 30 something degrees right now. Okay. So yes, in this goes 150 grams. I'm using a gluten-free plain. So yeah, mine will be a bit soft just because of the timing I've been on for. Okay, next, some salt. It is really warm at the moment, and it's only going to get warmer and then wetter, which I'm not looking forward to. Okay, half a teaspoon of salt and some water, 50 grams. And just a little tip, I know some people like to pick up their kettle and use their kettle water. Just make sure whenever you're doing pastries, you always use cold or certainly not warm. Okay, oops. If you're interested in breads and pastries, maybe you are still buying breads, pastries and stuff, I've actually got a bakery challenge series or course over at my website. So for those of you who don't know, I do have courses available over there so that you literally can level up your Thermomix and get more out of it, gain more confidence. It's actually not about putting ingredients in the Thermomix. You guys can do that, I'm sure. Most of you watching on, you can follow the steps, but then what do you do with it afterwards? Or what do you do if your pastry is soft or crumbly? That's what the course covers. It's giving you confidence to be an actual master at making them. So that when, as I said earlier, when you look at that bread and you're like, hey, I'll buy that. And then you're like, actually I can go home and have it done within 40 minutes. Happy days. Like that's what it's going to give you the skills to do. Okay, 20 seconds speed 4. Let's make this easily. Two pieces of baking paper. Okay, these are your best friends. Nearly done. I should have taken the top off to show you that tumbling around, but anyway, sorry about that. All right, you'll need your spatula. So there you go, beautiful buttery pastry. So easy. Now, if you are dairy free, there is an almond pastry on Cookie Do. So just have a search. If you can't find it, just send me a message and I will try and find it for you. Because I don't know that I can't remember that it's labeled necessarily almond pastry. I feel like it's part of another recipe. And they use olive. I'm not sure why I was saying almond. Olive oil pastry is what I mean, not almond. I think there's an almond based one as well, actually. Like it's a quiche casing that's made with almond meal or milled down almonds in our case here. So there are a few different options there. I meant actually olive oil pastry then, not almond. That was not what I meant. All right, so I'm taking out what I can and we're going to come back to this dob of dough in a second because I told you I want to show you how this is really super efficient. It's also fancy. If you've got people who are like, oh, I'm coming over and I'll see you in half an hour, you can have this in the oven like in minutes. So the next step is the longest step. Okay, transfer. I'm going to talk you through this. It's telling you to roll it out, line your tin, clean a bowl. Now, I don't clean the bowl in between. Yes, the flour will burn. Is it a big deal? No. You might have even noticed yesterday's video with the bacon and stuff in there. I forgot to mention, I was too busy chatting away, and it came out in the dishwasher. I looked today and I was like, oh, do I need to give that a rub? No. If you get a really bad burn, citric acid. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of citric acid, a little bit of water in the bottom, kettle feature or Varoma, depending on what model you're on, and happy days. Okay, bacon cubes. Now, if you are vegetarian, you could dice up some veggies and put some veggies in there to sear off. Okay, you can see I don't have enough. I don't mind. Some olive oil, which is optional. I'm not going to put that in there. It's just another thing. And then I need my lid. And now the simmering basket goes on top to stop the splatter. Okay, next. Oh, hit the back arrow. 3 minutes, 120 degrees, which is our really hot temperature. The hottest it goes on our manual cooking, and on speed slow stir, which is your very first setting. Okay, just while I've got a moment, 2 things I want to show you. Number one, don't know about you, but peaches and nectarines are in season at the moment. But by the time I get them home and you kind of leave them out for 24 hours to soften, or 48, inevitably there's a couple that aren't great in the bottom. Cook them up. You don't even need to add sugar. Just literally dice them all up, remove the seeds beforehand, and give them, I think that's like 15 minutes, but if it's less, you could probably do like 8 minutes, and then put them into pastry and things like that. All right, I'm looking around like a crazy lady, because here it is, because I did bring in my rolling pin, okay? All I'm doing here is, while I've got this 3 minutes, I'm being really efficient with my time, and I'm going to push out. And being gluten-free, it's kind of sticky, so you have to work with it this way, between 2 sheets of baking paper. It's been a long time since I've done non-gluten-free. You may, as a non-gluten-free pastry, be able to just roll it out normally, but gluten-free is a whole new world. Those of you watching on today, though, I had a message yesterday from somebody on YouTube in the evening, I think, saying, hey, I'm really enjoying your videos because I love cooking for my colleagues, and one of them is gluten-free. How good is it these days that we have access to good gluten-free flour that we can literally, you know, swap in? I mean, we can't swap it in for bread, okay? Don't try. It will not work. You've got to actually use a gluten-free bread recipe. But like, anytime I make banana bread, it says plain flour, I just put gluten-free. Like, how times have changed. When I became a consultant 10 years ago, you didn't have access to that, and the gluten-free flours you had were not pleasant or useful, or they were not cool. And if the good ones were expensive. All right, look at that. In like 30 seconds, that's ready to go. Okay, so top layer should come off fairly easily, but let's just say, see, this is where my courses come in handy, because here's a little, you know, inside knowledge. Say it was really tacky for some reason. You could cook this. You could put this in the oven with that lid on, so that other bit of paper, and put it first of all in your dish. Just let me backtrack, I should tell you that. So get your quiche dish. I don't pretend I've still got that top layer on. You literally could cook it with the top layer on in a 180-degree oven for, say, 8 minutes, and then you would be able to pull that baking paper off, okay? So that's the trick. If it's like mine is really delicate, this heat and that butter being soft, like this is really super soft. I can feel how that butter greasiness is today, but still, look at that. And that was done in the time that bacon cooked. How cool is that? And that's what I love about this recipe. Public service announcement, so you guys can have a giggle for a second at me. If you put this in your oven at the top, and these little bits of baking paper touch the element, it will catch on fire. I know. Okay, I've done it. 2 things you can do. If that happens, number 1, don't open the door. Oxygen is required to fuel a fire. Leave it closed. It goes out on its own. It does put some black shards on your food, but it will be okay. Second thing you can do is preventative. Rip off the high corners. Okay? I've done it. All right? Told ya. I'm not a good cook. Okay? All right, so next it tells you to drain this. Because you don't use oil in it, actually I've never drained it, this is what I do next, okay? Literally put it straight in. Just grab that spatula and get the last little bit out. Now I'm going to show you the bottom of this. You'll see there's a little bit of sticking to it. Honestly, no big deal. Dishwasher, or just soak it for a moment. You can't even, it's like a film. See that? It's like a film in there. Okay, let's finish this recipe off. This is so simple. 4 eggs. Now, our chooks have been misbehaving and not laying, so I've had to buy eggs. So let's go for 4 eggs. You know they crack beautifully on this handle. Gives you a nice V so that they crack nicely and no shells go in. If you didn't know, you now do. Okay. Now this next part in a second, it's going to call for cream and creme fresh. I don't know, fresh. I can't remember what it's called. And milk or cream. Now, if you want to make it dairy-free, there are plenty of times I've used coconut cream. So feel free to use coconut cream, yogurt, those sorts of things. I'm actually going to use cream today. I've got cream that needs using, so I am actually going to use that today. So 50 grams of milk, as I said, coconut cream, coconut milk, whatever you've got, almond milk. We've done it with almond before as well. There we go, close enough. And then the next step says this creme fraiche or pouring whipping cream. I've never ever used creme fraiche, but yeah, this needs using. It's been sitting there a little too long. Okay, don't go too heavy-handed, like a little gram here or there is okay, but the reason being, you haven't got enough eggs to support it otherwise. And I'm sure the salt's here somewhere. There it is. So it won't set if you go a bit crazy on the quarter of a teaspoon of salt. If you go crazy on the liquid, you'd want to, if you accidentally spill too much in, then it's an extra quarter. So say you put in an extra 30 grams, put another egg in, okay? You will struggle to potentially fit it in your quiche container though, so just be mindful of that. I'm sure I brought the pepper in. The pepper seems to be my disappearing element in my kitchen of recent. Okay, on with the lid, we're just going to leave that out. Kids will actually prefer that. Anyway, 30 seconds, speed 4, and we're going to finish this off. It's going to go in the oven. I'd love to know in the comments, if you're watching along, have you made a quiche Lorraine? Is that a yes? By the way, you can dress it up. So a quiche Lorraine, this one is, very basic. It is bacon, it is cheese, that's it. You could be putting the sun-dried tomatoes, the mushrooms like Debbie did yesterday into a scone recipe. You can put herbs. I'm going to put some oregano on mine. There's so many things you can do, okay? Like, what have you got left in the fridge? If you didn't have, say you didn't have bacon, you can do it without. It's beautiful, just as like an egg pie. Preferably with the pepper in that I can't find though. But, do you have leftover roast from the weekend? Like, put shredded chicken in it. Put some veggies in it. As I made mention, you can sear off some veggies instead of that bacon as well. Some diced up broccoli. Beautiful. Like, capsicum. Use, those of you with a RTM6, use the high heat capsicum recipe. Chuck your favourite high heat veggies in. Doesn't just have to be capsicum. Like it says, I think 200 grams capsicum. It can be broccoli, carrot strips, capsicum, all that stuff. And then put them into it. Like, you can make this as creative as you want. It's a base. Think about what you can do with it. As I said though, just always keep an eye on your liquid egg ratio. If I was going to put something like zucchini into it, because it's such a watery vegetable, you'd want to be adding to it, you'd want to be straining it first. Like putting it on a colander and pushing out the water. So that's our egg mix. This, by the way, the Thermomix tells you this next steps. Well, I just have it on replay. Like, we have been making quiche Lorraine for a long time. For as long as I've been doing videos for you guys. So, we're up to 4 years now of videos, like full-time videos. So, pretty busy. Love this recipe. So, finishing off, it tells you to assemble it, sprinkle with reserved cheese, and then it tells you to cook it at 180 for 30 to 35 minutes. And I'm just going to put some oregano on top because we like oregano. But anything goes. Now say hi if you're watching, and remember to hashtag replay when you're watching the replay. If you want the final product picture, check out Facebook at about 7 o'clock tonight. Those of you on YouTube, it's at the beginning, end, and it's the thumbnail, okay? You get it all. That's the thing. Unless my life gets crazy, which, let's be real, sometimes it does, okay? Sometimes it does, but most of the time, 90% of the time, that's what you will find. Now, if I can help you with anything regarding your Thermomix, say you're making a recipe and something's not right, don't throw it out, pick up the phone, send me a message. I'm here to help you, okay? I genuinely want to make sure you love your Thermomix and it serves you well. Whether that's because you're juicing or whether that's because you're making main meals, whatever that might be. Now, just a reminder, head over to TMX Adventures, click on subscribe. You will get a free printable download for the fridge. That's kind of your basics of, as a Thermomix owner, what I would suggest you have in the fridge, freezer, pantry as well. That comes as that, when you hit go, it responds to you and that's what you get. If you can't find that sort of reply from me, check your junk and spam. Sometimes that's where they go. All right. So I promise if you put the right email in, you'll be getting something back. But sometimes it does get filtered. So please go searching, have a look, you'll find it there. Okay. But otherwise, guys, thanks for joining me today. Remember, share these videos far and wide. Cook for your friends and family. As they have babies and there's illness and all that jazz, use your Thermomix. Send food their way when you can. And yeah, let me know how I can help you to get the most out of your Thermomix. But I'm so excited to keep cooking with you soon. Take care. Have a cool afternoon. Try and stay out of this heat, and I'll see you again for another video tomorrow. Take care. See you then. Bye now.